So I have 6 different word problems I'm going to go through with you in this video. The difference between these and the other questions is I'm not dealing with gravity or with profit. Now I'm dealing with other places that we might see a quadratic equation show up. So the first one we're going to look at is dealing with a rectangle. Since it's talking to me about a rectangle, I usually go ahead and start by drawing a picture. So I have that the length is 3 more than twice the width. So everything else is based off of the width, so I'm going to label that as x. And then to get the length of it, I have 3 more than twice the width. So 3 plus 2x, or 2x plus 3, depending on how you want to think about it. So my next thing that I need to think about is I have total area of 27 meters squared. Well, the area of a rectangle is the length times the width. So x times 3 plus 2x is equal to 27. But in order for us to actually solve this, since it will become a quadratic because I have x times 2x, which will make 2x squared, I need to set my equation equal to 0. Now, the nice part about this unit, since we are in the calculator active section, I don't have to distribute this. I don't have to go to the box to factor. You could in this instance, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it as x times 3 plus 2x minus 27, and that's going to be my equation that I use in Desmos. Now, since I'm trying to solve this, what I'm looking for are my roots. So I'm going to put my normal window there. So I have x times 3, just 3, plus 2x minus 27. And you'll see that I end up getting a parabola because, again, this does turn out to be a quadratic. Now I'm looking for x. X is the width of the rectangle. So this one gives me 3, 0, and this one gives me negative 4.50. Since we're talking about width, I cannot use the negative solution. So I'm going to say that the width is 3. And then I need to find the length. Well, there's a couple ways I could go about this. My total area is 27. So what times 3 would give me 27? Or I could come in here and substitute 3 and do 2 times 3 plus 3. Either way, we're going to get that the length is 9 meters. So this would be my solution. Next one we're going to look at is giving you a little bit of a riddle that we have to determine the number that is being added to its square. So if I label the number as x and I'm going to add that to its square, that means I take the number and I square it. That turns out to be 30. Now, this is one that I could use the box method of factoring and find my solutions that way. Or, since we are in the second part of this unit and we do have access to Desmos, I can subtract 30. So I'm going to have x squared plus x minus 30, and that's going to be my equation that I put into Desmos. So I'll have x squared plus x minus 30. And now again, we'll see a parabola. We don't see the whole thing, which is okay, because in this case, I'm still trying to find the roots and the solutions. So I have 2 different roots. Now in this case, because I'm just talking about a number, that I am squaring, it doesn't say if it wants the positive solution or the negative solution. And there's no indication in our problem as to whether or not we're dealing with a positive or a negative number. So I have to give both -6 or 5 because both of those numbers, when squared and added to the original number, will give me 30. The next question on here, we're talking about Colin building a deck. He has enough lumber for the deck to be 144 square feet. The length is going to be 10 more feet than the width. Since this is a square feet measurement, I know that the area is 144. So again, thinking about what our deck would look like, since it's going to be 10 more feet than the width, I know it will be rectangular instead of square. So I'm going to have x and x plus 10. So I'll have x times x plus 10 equals 144. And then this ends up being exactly like question number 1. I'm going to subtract 144. And then I'll go into Desmos and I'll find my root for this. And again, because it's a deck, I cannot have a negative solution. So I have to pick the positive solution. So that will be 8 feet by, and then 8 plus 10 would give me 18 feet. So the width will be 8 feet and the length will be 18 feet. Moving on to the second page of these. Now I'm dealing with triangles. So we are going to have to, again, I highly suggest anytime there is a shape involved, draw yourself a picture. So the hypotenuse is 3 less than twice the short leg. The other leg is 3 more than the short leg. So everything goes back to the short leg. So I'm going to label the short leg as x. The hypotenuse is 3 less than twice the short leg. So I have to double the short leg and then subtract 3 because it's 3 less than that. The length of the other leg is 3 more than the short leg. So I'm going to take the short leg and add 3. And my goal is to find this short leg. Now, because we're dealing with a right triangle, we get to go hang out with my old friend Pythagoras. So it doesn't matter which one I choose as A and B. I'm going to have x squared plus, now we have to be extremely careful and use parentheses because I am squaring this entire side, not just x or 3, but the entire quantity. Same thing with the hypotenuse. I'm going to set this up so that, and I know it looks weird, believe me, I do. Oops, it should be squared. But as long as you always have it equal to y, you're looking for your x-intercepts. So that's exactly what I'm going to type in here. X squared plus the quantity x plus 3 squared. Oops, not x minus 3. Oh, Lord. X plus 3 squared minus 2x minus 3 squared. And I know that this equation looks weird, but the alternative is doing the box method twice and simplifying. And if I have access to Desmos, I ain't got time for that. Now you'll notice one of my solutions is 0. If I substitute in 0 to all of these, of course I'm going to get 0. But I'm talking about the sides of a triangle. I don't want 0 for the side of my triangle. So here it tells me that the short side of my triangle is 9, and it didn't give us any measurements, so I'm going to say 9 units. So now we have 3 children that can be expressed as 3 consecutive integers. That tells me, remember, consecutive means one after another, and integers means I'm dealing with my whole numbers. So 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to say that one kid is x plus 1, and the next one is x plus 2. So this is young, this is middle, this is old. So the square of the youngest child, so that would be this one, the square of the youngest child is 4 more than 8 times the age of the oldest child. And again, I'm going to get all of this together equal to y. So I'm going to do minus 4 minus 8 times x plus 2. And that's exactly what I'm going to put into Desmos as soon as it catches up and stops freezing. There we go. So I subtracted 4, I subtracted this term, and I'm going to just put that in Desmos. And I'm going to find my roots. And with these questions, that's always going to be our mission. This is why I did not put them with the gravity questions, because the gravity and profit questions can ask us a lot of different types of key features. We could be looking for the y-intercept or the vertex or the axis of symmetry value or a specific height or a specific time. But in these cases, we're always looking for a root. So in this case, the youngest will be 10. The next one will be 11. And the last one will be 12. So those are the ages of the kids. Last but not least, we have one more triangle question. So the hypotenuse, so I'm just going to go ahead and start drawing myself a picture. Again, everything gets related back to the short leg, so I'm going to label the short leg as x. The hypotenuse is 6 more than the short leg, so I'm going to take the short leg and add 6. The long leg is 3 more than the short leg, so that's x plus 3. And I have to find, again, the length of the short leg. So I'm going to do Pythagorean theorem. I'm going to square these 2 legs and add them together. And again, I have to make sure I put those in parentheses. And I'm going to set it equal to the hypotenuse squared in parentheses. And I'm going to get it in y equals form. So I'll have x squared plus the quantity x plus 3 squared minus the quantity x plus 6 squared is equal to y. And that's what I'm going to go put into Desmos. So I'll have x squared plus x plus 3 squared minus x plus 6 squared And I've got 9 and -3. So my short leg gives us 9.